Is this mic got sound to it? Okay. What was I saying before that? Huh? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that I remember he'd come out sometime and he said, I'm a little late. He said, you know, it's all over the world that we're never on time for anything. He said, but I want to warn you and myself too, that we better get out of that being behind time. Don't we may run into the wrong fellow who's on time. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You know better than to be coming in class when class is time to start. Every one of you know better. When I was in elementary school, well, I'll go up to junior high. When I was in junior high school, generally, my teacher wouldn't come in until the exact time. And if you got there after the teacher, when the teacher was ready to get started, they might send you to study hall because you didn't get there on time. That was their way of teaching you. You're not supposed to be getting ready when it's time for class to start. You are supposed to be ready in your chairs, ready. Make this the last time I hear chairs scooting around and everything when it's time for this class. Am I clear? Yes. You want to be treated like adults, then start acting like it. You want to be treated like Muslims, start acting like a Muslim. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go unto the house of the Lord. Now, we have people that disagrees with us, and I'm here to try to convert people to Islam, submission entirely to the will of Allah, the God. I like that way that even the Arabic name Allah means the God. That means you're talking about one in particular, because it's a whole lot of them out here. Associates. But no associate has he, and this am I commanded. And I am of those who submit. And I'm ready to make you of them. Right now, ain't none of you of those who submitted. You know why? Because those who submitted was called prophets and messengers. And since you couldn't understand what they were saying, how could you be filled with what they said if you didn't understand it? You are not of them yet until someone make you of them. That's what I'm here for. If you humble yourself, you shall be exalted like they were. They were raised. And so I'm here now to raise everybody else. All you got to do is believe. And but how you going to believe without a preacher? And how shall he preach except he be sent? Son of man, I do send thee unto them. I know it said they, but now it's he. God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past to the fathers through the prophets, have in these last days, in the Sabbath days, spoken to us by his only begotten Son. This is me. And I don't have to be shy about saying it. I used to be shy about saying it. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. But even then, I had more sense than most of these people who standing up talking what they not sure of. And so when you are a child, you act like a child. You know you don't know everything. So wait, don't be trying to act grown while you are a child. So that's the one thing that when my children was growing up, and as they grow up, I made them act like children. Sometimes they'd want to help me and work with me and whatnot. I'd say, go play. You know why? Because they're going to be grown a whole lot longer than they're going to be a child. So they need to have the experience of having been a child so they don't think they miss nothing when they get grown. So, but some of you all, you got your own way. So, and that's why the world in the shape it's in, because it's been doing things y'all's way. You're going to discover that there's only one right way to do any and everything. There's only one right way. Because there's only one best way. Otherwise, there's no such word as best. You need to take that out of the English language. If it can always be better, then there's no such thing as best. I, Allah, am the best way knower. Yeah. And if you don't trust my way, then you go back to doing it your way. But your way is what's got the world in the shape it's in and got the world at the end of its time. So you're going to either do it my way or you ain't going to be, what did Shakespeare say? To be or not to be. That is the question. What is that? When Allah said to his messengers, be, the only thing he wanted to hear from them is I am. So we are not here to run away from trouble. We are here to confront trouble and overcome it. We are here to be attacked by the world and win over it. There was a time when I used to teach people and whatever they wanted to do in the way of insults and whatnot, I took it. But I did warn you that there was a day coming when I wouldn't take your insults no more. You can call me a liar if you want to. But if I say to you, show me what I lied about. Then your eyes go rolling back. That's what people do when they're trying to think up something. You shouldn't have said it if you didn't have no proof of it. If you tell a person that they are lying, you shouldn't stop right there. You're supposed to be able to go right on forward. Say, that's a lie you just told that because so-and-so, you said this yesterday, or you said this last week, or so-and-so. Then they get selective amnesia. That's why it's good to have tapes. Yes, sir. So I'm a person who, I got a good memory, but my memory ain't good as these tapes. You know, people can say, well, you remembering wrong. You know, they can say that. And then it's their word against whose? Against yours, right? Then the one who wasn't privy to it, don't know which one of you has an accurate memory, right? Even though you may know that your memory is accurate. But you know, a lot of times people they say they remember stuff when they really don't. You heard Donald Trump stand up there confessing that he told the Canadian president that America was in a trade deficit with Canada. And he said it like it was matter of fact, standing up there telling a bold-faced lie. Well, he didn't know nobody recorded it. He thinks that whenever people come out to see him, that they're on his side. Do you honestly think that just because somebody came to listen to you and hear you, that they all agree with you? Well, that's the way children are. That's a self-absorbed mind. That's a person who cannot look at themselves objectively. And so, since they so in love with themselves, they just can't see how everybody else wouldn't be in love with them. do you understand? And so, you know, that's one of the symptoms of too much self-love. What they call that? No, they got a word for it. Narcissism. You so in love with yourself that you think everybody else in love with you too. You watch people who love dogs. They think everybody love dogs. Well, it's the truth. And you come up there and they call that dog baby. Come here, baby. And then somebody else, the dog go to jump up on him and he said, no. He said, oh, he ain't gonna hurt. He got teeth, don't he? What makes you think a dog? A dog is a territorial creature. They got a creature and don't even know his nature. Ain't no such thing as a dog that won't bite. If he bite me, try to bite me. I'm gonna try to make sure he don't bite nobody else. Because you should have controlled him. They told you to put that thing on a leash. I think it's a law that you got to have a dog on a leash, don't you? Okay. I didn't mean to get on y'all's dogs. I know people love dogs. But I don't want no dog. When I was a baby, I had a dog. Baby compared to what I am now. I was in, I think it was elementary school. I had a Doberman Pinscher. And so, but I grew out of that. when my daddy fussed at me because the dog boo-booing all over the yard, guess who had to get it up? So my daddy told me, I see any more boo-boo on his yard, that dog getting out of here. He saw some more boo-boo on the yard, and he took the dog and gave it to a junkyard. So every time I hear junkyard, they had a wrestler called Junkyard Dog. I thought about my dog. Anyway, I know y'all don't want to hear that. Let me get on into these.
So you have a comment from
yes.
Lucky Charms is screaming.
Look at y'all. Look at y'all. All right. I don't mean to laugh at you. You caught me at a humorous time. Yes, Mr. Charm.
He says, since you asked about what you lied about Allah.
Okay, what about Allah?
He says,
okay, no, that we ain't gonna have that discussion with no printing. Now, if you get away with printing out what they call a complaint with the police. When you go to the police station, the person that you got a complaint against, they don't have to be there. And you swear out your complaint, and then you have to face that person in court. That's one of the laws of this great nation, the United States. A man has a right to face those who accuse him. You can't do it by writing. You got to talk to him. So send him the number and let him call in here, and then he can tell me what I lied about. You see? Lucky Charm. Okay. So there ain't no sense keep typing. I don't want to hear no typing. You call me a liar, now come on in here and talk to me. And if you keep that up, I'm gonna cast you into hell. Now I don't mind you disagreeing with me. I don't mind you having conversation with me. I'm not inviting you in here so I can get mad at you and throw you in hell. That's not what I'm inviting you in here for. I'm inviting you in here so that you can show that you wasn't just putting something out there as an insult, but you had a legitimate complaint against me and you want to face me. That's what men do. I just told you I enjoy talking to people who. Let me show you something. This is from. See how Allah does. He have me. I didn't know. When I was up there working today, and I just popped this tape in, and it's from 2008, I think. Let's see. Yes, it's from May 18th, 2008. That looked like an 8 on there. Yeah. And so that was 10 years ago. And the person, as I was talking, I will let you see that I'm not lying to you. I like to talk with people who disagree with me. That's the only way I could grow to my manhood. That's all I've been doing for the past 40-something years, is getting in conversations with people, especially people who disagree with me. Haven't you noticed that when people try to come in and when they say compliments or whatnot, I'll tell them, look, I don't want to hear that. You know, if you don't have a disagreement, your silence tells me that there's no problem, that we okay. I ain't trying to win no popularity contest. You know, you go to them others for that. They think that, you know, the most important thing to them is people praising them. The most important thing to me is pleasing Allah. If you looking for the praise of the world, you ain't gonna be able to please God. Or haven't you studied the history of the prophets and messengers of God? The world hated them people. When they was given a chance to set Jesus free or a known criminal, they did the same thing y'all just did. That's why you think I don't know how Donald Trump became president. Black people was involved in that. Y'all made that happen, as well as white folks. It's just like Barack Obama. He didn't get in there just because black people voted for him. White people supported him. That's why I don't never hear you saying that when I'm talking about him. Nobody said nothing. Why? I know why. It's because you went right in that booth and you voted for him because you liked the way he talked down the earth. You liked it when he said, what the hell you got to lose? Now you see you got what you got to lose. The little man that you had left. That's what you had to lose in order to go in there and check him instead of a woman whose history showed you that she cared about this country. You wouldn't be sitting up trying to argue about Obamacare now. You wouldn't be sitting up talking about putting up a crazy wall down at the bottom of the United States. We want to put a great big wall down the southern border of America. I seem to recall a president saying, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. I think his name was Ronald Reagan. You know, the one that they all say they look up to. Lying. That's just like the people who claim they look up to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Lying. The world talking about they love Jesus. Then why did you say let him be crucified? Why did you ask to free Barabbas and crucify Jesus if you loved him? You liars. That was a liar that just put that stuff in there. Look at Charm. Huh. Well, my name is Light Child. That's my screen name. Light Child. As in walk in the light that you may be a child of light. I don't do nothing without a reason. So, you notice he ain't in here. So what was that? What was that about? An insult. Don't throw another insult at me. Now, if you think that I ain't got no authority, then you throw another one at me. What the AT&T used to say, reach out and touch somebody. Yeah. So, Allah gave me authority, and I'm not afraid to use it. He told me, he said, cast into hell every ungrateful, rebellious one. Now, if you think that I ain't that one who can do that, you throw another insult at me. I didn't insult you. Anytime somebody try to speak to me, if they type something, I say, okay, what did he say? I told brother, stop me and let me answer them. That's how I want to be done. If I have something that I want to say to you, stop and let me say it. And I show him respect, and then he tell me to kiss his behind. No, I ain't gonna kiss it. I'm gonna kick it right into hell, and I don't even have to put my hands on you. So,
sir, you have a question?
Yes. What is the question?
From John Jacobs.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jacobs.
And he says, is Master Farad Muhammad alive in person?
Yes, he's still Allah in the person. I remember the messenger was asked once, where is Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad? He said he is where he is. See, and to the ignorant, they thought that that was the messenger saying, I don't know. Well, no. The messenger was saying that Allah, the truth, was wherever Master Farad Muhammad is, the truth is still in his person. Period. So, you see, you worship your beliefs. We know what we worship. You see, when we say we, I'm talking about those who are heads. The head knows what it worships. You see, the messengers of God, they're the head of every man. That's why you have to come to me and ask me these questions. You don't see me asking you none about God and how he do this or what does this mean and all of that. Y'all coming to me and asking me. That's just natural. The body always petitions the head. The body expresses feelings. The head expresses knowledge. Do you understand? Okay. So now I'm on.
Sir.
Yes.
He was saying, is Master Farad Muhammad alive in person? He just put physically alive.
I don't know whether he's in the body or not. You know, but I know that the flesh of him wasn't God. There ain't never been no flesh that's God. But God appears in flesh when he so chooses. You see, that's why he and his messenger are called one. He says, I and my Father are one. You read that in the scripture where it says, I once knew a man, whether in the body or I cannot tell. Meaning, you remember Paul said, for me to be absent from the body? What is absent from the body? You're no longer in the body. Huh? But just because the truth is not in that body anymore, the truth don't stop being the truth just because it's left because that body that it was revealed through is no longer capable of staying here. Yaqub wasn't in the body to see white people that he made. But Yaqub was a mind, not just flesh and blood. You see? And so Yaqub never saw a white man. Matter of fact, Yaqub never even saw a brown man. But Yaqub is the one that's been ruling for the past 6,000 years. He has been the God. Because the God is a spirit. The God is a mind. And that mind has taken up residence in the people of earth right now. That's one of the reasons you're called the children of Israel. You see, Jacob's name was changed to Israel. You see. So it's much that, so if you say Israel or Jacob, you're saying the same thing. You saw on, the white man know this. Don't think he does. He in his movie, A Christmas Carol, where that George C. Scott, that man know he could act. But one part when he was playing Ebenezer Scrooge, he was, after he was ready to repent, he said, "On my knees, Father Jacob, on my knees." Why he say Father Jacob? Because they know that Yaqub is their father. Yaqub is the father of the brown, the yellow, and the white man. Those are the sons of Jacob. Do you understand? Okay. So, I wasn't asking, do you understand how that is? I was meaning, did you understand what I just said? Okay. All right. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you that Jacob was the one that made the white race. Well, if he made the white race, then he made the brown, the yellow also. Because in order to get to the white race, you had to go through the brown, the yellow, then the white. Do you understand? Okay. And you don't find no history of them. No 7,000 year ago history of them. They ain't got no history. They're very, very young people. As Prophet Muhammad said, the Antichrist will be a young man. You see? Yeah. That lead the Ancient of Days out. You sure can't say that the Antichrist is black. That's like saying we would be against ourselves. So that ain't that just don't happen. So, but I want you to hear this because so give me a minute here. Let me see how I'm gonna do it. I need I'll do it like this. Now this was from 2000 and what did I say? 2008. Okay. Let's see here now. Trying to change modes here and it don't want to change. Give me a minute. This thing is I guess I done broke it. No, I didn't. I forgot how to work it. It's been so long since I used it. I got it now. All right. I heard heard the news that a U.S. soldier was using a Holy Quran for target practice over in
over in the east, and the people were in an uproar about it. But not that I condone such action, because that is a foolish action to commit by a man when he does not realize that that book is a revealed word from Almighty God. Instead of shooting at it, you ought to be reading it. But when you look at the way the people who claim to believe in these books can wantonly and willfully commit heinous acts against their fellow man, while getting offended when somebody tear a page or use a book that they say they believe in for target practice. It looks like straining at a gnat and swallowing a camel. It's the same with these folks in the Bible. You know, by the time you get through with the Bible and your interpretation of it, you make the average person be ready to throw the Bible in the trash can. And by the time you people over there in the East get through with all of your so-called jihads and all of this mess that you got going, you make people think the Holy Quran is a book of terrorism, which actually is what you intend to do. That's what most of you who claim you so religious, that's what you have no real desire to be righteous. You just want to use them books to trip people. You have no desire to help humanity. You have the desire to enslave humanity, and you figure these books will help you to do that. But that's why I'm taking the books out of your hands. You'll notice, I stand up here and talk about them all of the time. The so-called believers in the Bible, the so-called believers in the Holy Quran. And none of them come in here to express their understanding and let me check them like I stand up in front of you and let you check me. So you through using the words of God for mischief like a dope peddler out there using Sycanol for something it wasn't intended for, or using what is that, morphine for what it wasn't meant for, using all of these medical assistance drugs. Instead of for healing, you out there addicting people to it. It was not meant for no recreation. As Allah said, and we did not desire to take no pastime. It's not no recreation. This is not a game. It's not a joke. But you take Allah's word for mockery. And then you're surprised when you find somebody who watched you take it for mockery. They look at it and say, it must not be nothing. Look at these people. This is what I think of your book. And then they go and shoot it up, and then you want to get all up in arms and act like somebody done wronged you. You're the one that makes people disrespect your book.
Is it hot in here? Okay.
That's the same thing you're doing with your Constitution right here in America. You making people have no
Check
respect
that arrow
for
on 76.
because you don't respect.
You got to put it on first.
So you You know, it does no good to speak to people and admonish people that are in power if you do so in such way, especially in courts. And this is the court. You have to give people the opportunity to object or put forth opposing arguments if they deem that something that is being said is not factual. They have a right to present facts that nullify that which was said that was unfactual.
Now remember, this was 10 years ago. Sound just like I'm talking now, huh? It's because the truth don't change. That's in the book. It says, I am the Lord, and I change not. Now, the same thing I was saying 10 years ago about how I conduct myself, that still goes. It's just that now my sword is a lot sharper. Because while everybody else was ducking arguments, I was looking for them. As Allah said, they desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah will allow not save the perfection of his light. That's right. So I want you to hear. See, that, like these people, what I've said to him now, I didn't used to talk to people like that. I used to take all of the insults that you had to throw at me. Just listen.
And sir, John Jacobs is here leaving a bunch of comments.
John who?
Jacobs.
Who is John Jacobs?
It's the person that just asked you about Master Farad Muhammad.
Well, if he want to talk to me on that subject, he need to come on in. Don't Mr. Jacobs, don't do that. I don't do. I mean, you sitting up here in America, just pick up the phone and dial in and have your conversation with me. I'll let you put forth whatever it is you want to say.
Now, I'm going to...
All callers are unmuted. All callers are muted and they unmute themselves by pressing *6.
No, that's on there.
So
that's on the tape.
Muted the phones where the people in the conference room, if they hear me say something that is unfactual, you may put forth whatever you have.
See?
You who are listening in and viewing us over the internet and on the radio and television, the numbers that you can call for Detroit are area code 313-868-0351, 868-0342, or 868-4336. In the city of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, the number is area code 601-450-0534. Again, that's 601-450-0534. Now, on the internet, especially inside of the borders of America, you who have unlimited long distance, if you have a question or an argument.
Now, if you listen to this, you will see that we don't even have that same conference room no more. This not something I just put together. It's just that Allah put it on my mind to bring it tonight. So, and now you see why. But listen, he's going to tell you about the conference room now.
That you would like to put forth with facts that nullify something that I have said. The number that you can call is area code 712-580-0380. Again, that's 712-580-0380. You will be asked for an access code. The access code is 729-693, followed by the pound key. That's 729-693, followed by the pound key. That will put you in the conference room. Then you may push *6 on the phone and unmute your phone and ask your question or put forth your constructive argument to whatever degree you may feel comfortable doing so. But understand something. I'm not going to sit up and listen to any of you make statements that are unfounded and just keep building on that. If I hear you say something that is not clear or not founded in facts, I'm going to stop you and ask you questions about it to get further understanding. I'm not going to let you use my mind for a junkyard, a rubbish heap. And I'm also not going to let you use my listeners' minds for that. I don't teach confusion, and I'm not going to allow you to bring confusion in here. Now, if you're going to teach a person something, the student should not be confused when a truthful teacher is speaking to them. Anytime you are being truthful and the student that's listening to you I should say, anytime you say you being truthful and the student that's listening to you and truly listening is not clear on what you are talking about, you are not up to what you are teaching, or either you don't know the language of the student that you're talking to. You cannot teach people if you're not speaking their language. And that does not just simply mean English. It also means you must speak English on a level that the student that you are speaking to understands what the thoughts that you are trying to convey and the meaning of those thoughts. You are trying to transfer them to that mind. So you have to speak in a language that that mind can receive. So I'm not going to let you just get in here and show off. And if you have truth and legitimate arguments, I love to hear people put forth worthwhile arguments. You know, I'm not a person who's interested in following and holding on to falsehood. If a person can show me that I've been believing in something that is not true, then I welcome that person to come in and show it to me. But coming in here with your belief, you know, most people in this world think that a belief is a fact. Oh, pitiful thing. And then when they come in telling me or trying to teach us what they believe, they get angry, and when I tell them, I don't want to hear your belief. Where's your proof of what you're saying? If you don't have any proof of it, why are you trying to give it to me? As facts. You want to give me something, charity proves all things. So I don't just offer you something, I give you proof of what I'm saying. I give you facts. And so I want to say that you who I was told they sent that soldier back to the U.S. and that's good. But I want to say this. What you ought to do is send all your, bring all our children back home. Lead them hypocrites over there today. False understanding. So I'm just saying to you, I don't go along with wrong. I don't go along with people who always trying to use the word of God as a reason to murder people. I don't condone it and didn't condone it when the Ku Klux Klan was here doing it to us. And I don't condone it when you who call yourself Shiites or Sunnis or whatever you call yourself, Party of God, whoever you call yourself. I don't condone none of that foolishness. What about the word that says thou shalt not kill? And kill not any soul that Allah has not ordered to be killed. And when you read the book,
I want to say something on that a little more. When it says, kill not any soul that Allah has not ordered to be killed. Prophet Muhammad was at war with Mecca. He went back into Mecca with a conquering army. He didn't tell his after they gained the victory, go and slaughter all of them. He said, kill all them disbelievers. He knew that he had some people who really wanted to just go and kill everybody who wasn't with him, which he never wanted the war in the first place. They attacked him. They persecuted him. And so Allah revealed to him that persecution is worse than slaughter. The right of self-defense is your right. Defend yourself. And when you gain the victory and they cease fighting with you, you cease fighting with them. Huh? Okay. Even though one of his generals, when they was in victory, his general was riding on one of them stallions, went to the surf of the sea, shaking his sword over his head. He said, if it was not for this sea, I would keep on to the ends of the earth, putting to death every infidel that I find. Now that was the spirit that was in there. If you ain't fighting to win, you ought not be fighting. So they had the spirit of war because they needed that. But when they got there and conquered Mecca, Prophet Muhammad said, now look, anyone who will say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, there's no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger, don't you take his life. Give them that option. So you know what they all said. And he put a stop to the killing. Do you understand? You see, we are not a people who Allah would never leave us in a position where people attack us and then tell us we can't defend ourselves. No, in this world, he said the right of self-defense, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life. Why? Because it's a bunch of devils. You know, you are under the rulership of the devil. And you can't put people in that kind of position and don't give them the right to defend themselves. But even when you decide that you want to take revenge, he said, whoever forgoes it, it shall be a expiation for him, a show of righteousness and something that will kind of like one of them get out of jail free cards. You know, it shows that you have the right kind of heart, and Allah will remember that, and it will blot out a lot of your sins because you were merciful. Blessed are the merciful. For what? They shall obtain mercy. You know, rather than take revenge, trust in what the Lord said. Vengeance is mine. I will repay. That's what's written. Okay. So that, as we listen to some of the things that is being said, you need to learn why it was said. If Allah's messenger, when Allah's messenger told them to fight, Allah was ordering them to fight. But what happens when Allah's messenger ain't among you no more? Then how can you say that Allah is ordering you to kill somebody when his personal representative ain't there no more? Now you have to restrain yourself. You have to practice what the religious doctrine is. And the religious doctrine is, thou shalt not kill. If you are attacked, you have the right of self-defense. Only defense. Do you understand? When they cease fighting with you, if they cease fighting with you, that's where you get prisoners of war. You see, most people don't understand why the Geneva Convention was put together by America. More than likely, America was the leader of it. It's because America is closer to being they are the most Islamic nation on the earth. The Geneva Convention won't let you torture soldiers. The only thing you can demand out of him without physical torture, you don't physically torture him, but he has the right to give you only his name, rank, and service number. Now, if you can trick him into doing something other than that, fine. But he's your prisoner, so he can't be fighting you, so stop fighting him. The only thing, if anything, he's trying to escape. And he know he can't do that. He ain't got no guns in there. So how can he fight you when you got all the guns? So they had that Geneva Convention on how you treat prisoners of war. Do you understand? Because you don't stop being a human being just because you're fighting a war. You must not ever lose your humanity. A man always leaves another man a way out. Leave him a way to save face. Don't strip him of his manhood. Because after all, God made all nations of men from one blood. So in that sense, we are all family. Why would you commit fratricide? What's really people been vying for, what they've been competing for, is who gonna rule. Well, all of you have proven to be unfit. You get up, and instead of being just to others, you practice injustice. Here's a good example here. Here, I open my forum up that none of their leaders do. None of the people they look up to does what I do. Because he won't be a leader long if he did. Because he gonna run into me, and that would be the end of it. So, and I'm not talking about insulting him, but you see they come in here and throw insults at me. I told you, if they were in charge, they're showing you how they would act. It's like people want to act like, how in the world can you act surprised at Donald Trump? Donald Trump ain't doing nothing now that he wasn't doing before you went down there like a fool and put a check next to his name. Now you want to act like you're surprised. You and your wishful thinking. He stood up and mocked what you wanted him to do. You want him to be presidential. He made mockery of you. The man 71, 72 years old. Why in the world do you think he's finna change? He read the snake to you I don't know how many times. And he tell you, shut up. You knew what I was when you put me in there. Huh? Actually, if I was him, I would step down and, because to do what he's doing, siding with the enemy of America in the position he's in, that's treason. If he was just a private citizen, if he liked Russia, he liked Russia. That's his business. But you can't do that. You can't do that and be in the government of America. Your oath of office, you pledged your loyalty and allegiance to the United States of America and its Constitution. How in the world you come out, you believe in God, and you think Russia can be your friend? Well, those people don't have no religions over there. They don't believe in religion. Now, there may be people practicing religion, but you don't hear the government sitting up talking about the Bible or the Holy Quran. That's one of the main things that people demand of their president in America, at least you used to, is that he believe in God. Ronald Reagan called Russia a godless empire because they are not a people who believe in, they don't espouse religion. So, how you gonna walk as brethren with them? You cannot. But anyway, I'm a person who believe, I'm a realist. I'm not it's just like when I heard Mr. Reagan's son, Ronald Reagan Jr., he said he's a proud atheist. I know what people mean when they say they're an atheist. They mean they don't believe in none of the religions that they done seen. You can't come in here and tell me you're an atheist. I'll take it from you. There's no such thing as an atheist. They just think that's what they are. There ain't nobody that don't worship the truth, including these people over there. Whenever you trying to accomplish something, don't look now. But in order to accomplish it, you need to find the truth. The truth is God. So, but anyway, let's go back. I want you to hear this because this is what you see tonight. Give me a minute. Trying to get this thing to come.
You have not even understood that when it says slay the hypocrite where you find them, you thought that meant go and murder a person, take a person's life. The flesh is not the hypocrite. The mind that's in the flesh is the hypocrite. You can't slay that hypocrite with a bullet and chopping the head off of the one that's deceived by that mind is not getting rid of that deceitful mind. It's like breaking the glass and somehow thinking you done harmed the water. You ain't harmed what was in the glass by breaking the glass. I mean, you just tore the glass up for no reason. Why don't you just pour out what was in it and then clean the glass up and use it for something that is more honorable? But no, that's too much like right for you. You too busy wanting to murder somebody. So it's written, all of you guilty. Every one of you that's walking around here got your gun, got your bombs, and got your planes and stuff, and got your infantry and your all these things, got man killing his brother. And then you mad at me for talking about it. And you can't come in here and say I'm wrong, because who are you trying to kill? The human beings on this planet are a family. They are called the human family of the planet Earth. Why should I want to kill my own family? Don't worry, your killing days is just about over. You're going to either stop or Allah's going to stop you. Now, I'm going to read something. First, I'm going to let you hear something. You who claim that you're following any one messenger of God. You notice I say any one messenger of God. You know, they love to say, I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Prophet Muhammad. I'm a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Yeah, that's the lie you telling. I want you to listen to this. He was getting us ready. He was getting you ready for me. He was getting you ready for the fact that you were no longer living in the dark. You was about to be brought into the light. And you notice it's not called the great night of the Lord. It says the great day of the Lord. And the scripture teaches you that the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath day. And in the Sabbath day, it would be called a holy day. Son of Man, for some reason we can't hear you in Hattiesburg now, sir. We can't hear you, sir. Just a moment. I don't know what's happening here. Give me a minute. Can you hear me now? Yes. Yes, sir, we can. Thank you, sir. I think we got a problem with the conference room line. I don't know what the story is on it. But what I'm going to have to do is, see, I had the conference room hooked in. Just a moment. Can you all still hear me? Yes, sir. We can hear you in Hattiesburg, sir. Oh. I'm sorry to hear that you're going in and out on the conference line. Well, you know, I may have to disconnect the conference line if we keep doing this because it seems to be interfering with the other people. Put your phone back on mute, and then we will see if you can hear me. I'll leave it connected. Otherwise, I'm going to have to disconnect the conference line and let someone else call in until we get that line straight. But as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was saying, he said that he was giving us a lecture on respect. How many times have you heard somebody come into my arena here, claiming to be his follower, showing the utmost of disrespect to me, while I respected them enough to let them come in here and put forth arguments. They ain't got sense enough to come in here and put forth an argument in a respectful way.
Now, you see, you hear that? That was 10 years ago. And they still doing the same thing. I just ain't gonna take it no more. That's all. Now, wait a minute. Let me show you. Now, I told you I used to take it. Now, just watch this.
While claiming they following the teacher who taught them to respect everybody. So I'm dealing with these hypocrites. As the scripture says, slay them where you find them. Wherever I meet a person that's manifesting hypocrisy, I get on them to try and do just what the Holy Quran says, slay the hypocrites where you find them. I'm not trying to get rid of the person. I'm trying to slay the hypocrisy that's in the person. Do you understand? If you have a worthwhile argument, why make your argument null and void because you didn't have sense enough to present it in a civilized manner? Do you understand? If you claim to be the more knowledgeable person, then how is it that a person that you deem to be less knowledgeable than yourself has to correct you on etiquette, on how you enter into an arena that you don't control? If you notice, when that sister Maureen Jenkins was interviewing me, I kept the phone lines, the conference room, I conferenced you in, but I kept the phone line where you couldn't unmute it. Why is that? Because it was not my broadcast, it was hers. So it was not up to me to let you unmute your phones and whatnot to come into her broadcast and whatnot. And, you know, so if you wanted to do that, you need to call the number that she gave you. Or at best, I'd have to ask her permission. But I understand how you conduct yourself in other people's homes. You conduct yourself the same as you would like your company to conduct themselves in your home. If I feel that you disrespected me, I will leave your home. I'm not going to stand around there and argue with you. I'm through arguing with white people about how they treat black people in America. I'm not going to be arguing with you about begging you to treat me right. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to take my people and get them out of here. Sitting around in here arguing with white folks about how they mistreat us, begging them to do what that's not in them to do. If it's not in you to treat me right, I'm not going to beg you to stay in your house. I want my own country. And that's what I want for me and my people. You see? So we are not here to just put forth talk at you. We are here to talk to you. Now, a minute ago, somebody was trying to say something which I've tried to teach them civilized behavior. They don't have sense enough to excuse themselves and say, excuse me, son of man, I have something I would like to say. And it's that same foolish fellow who comes in here sometimes and call me SOB and all that old kind of stuff. And he come back in here every time we in here when he wants to say something. He don't have sense enough to conduct himself.
Set that arrow on 78.
So even if he had something that was worthwhile to say, it never can get through because he don't have sense enough how to present himself. Which means he obviously don't have nothing to say. He's one of those people like in Noah's day that when Noah was out there working on his project, you had hecklers out there calling him crazy because he's building an ark in the middle of where there ain't no need for nothing. And so this is what I've been putting up with for the past.
What was it on?
30-something years.
Okay. I'm talking about the,
and so
when you looked at it.
I'm not.
It was on 76 already? Today. Huh?
Now, we are going to.
Put it on 79.
Go on. And, but it always piques my interest when somebody has something that they say to me. So I got to see what he got to say. What is it?
All callers are unmuted. All callers are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Now unmute your phone. Now unmute it.
Speak from your point of view. I don't know if you. Most of the time, 75% of the time you're talking about your point of view. 10% of the time you talk about the Bible, another 15% you talk about the Quran.
And you said that to say what? And you said that to say what?
I'm trying to figure out what's your point.
No, if you were trying to figure out what my point is, I make my points perfectly clear. So there's no figuring out my point. When you suggest
it's your point of view, you make your point real clear. Yours.
Right. But now I'm trying to figure out what was your point to take your phone off of you to tell me that I make my points real clear.
I just told you.
What was your point of doing that?
I just told you.
No, you didn't.
I'm not going to answer again.
You see, that's what I'm talking about. See, now, that's the way that's a child's mind that's in this man. Now, I show him respect to let him put forth his argument or whatnot. Then I ask him, now, why did you feel the need to tell me that? And he said, I just told you. For what? You just told me for what? You like a baby. You wants to be seen and heard. So go on. I'm gonna let you be seen for a minute and heard for me. What is it you want to say? What am I teaching that's wrong? Tell the people.
What are you supposed to be teaching?
No, I'm asking you.
Bunch of things wrong.
You interrupted me, so you said if there's a whole bunch, then you ought not have no problem starting enumerating them then. What is it that I'm teaching that's wrong?
You already know what the first start off at. So why ask that question? You know what you're teaching wrong.
Well, why don't you tell us? Since you the one brought it up.
You're supposed to be living.
I'm supposed to be what?
You're supposed to be Lord.
Well, that's what the scripture says.
And Lord of who?
Lord of all. All human beings. That's why I'm taking out the time with you, little foolish man.
Yeah, I know you do it, huh?
You say you know him what?
What? Who are you Lord of who? You're Lord of who?
Of humanity. I just told you that. Is that all you had?
You're delusional.
What is the meaning of delusional?
That's a false belief.
Well, that's part true. What is the whole meaning of the word?
I just told you the part that I'm talking about.
No, you can't. You can't use a word and then I ask you the meaning of the word.
More than one meaning.
Well, no, it don't have more than one meaning.
You said it. I said words have more than one meaning.
Now I'm asking you when you said when you said that I'm delusional, now you're the one that's talking to me. Now I need to understand what you mean by what I say. Because the term delusional, if I have a false belief, are you saying that everyone that has a false belief is delusional? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they truly.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Didn't I tell you that I'm talking? Didn't I tell you that I'm talking? Didn't I tell you that I'm talking to a child here?
You have a false belief, not a mistaken belief.
Okay, well, a false belief. Okay, are you saying that everyone that has a false belief is delusional? I'll teach you to come in here and call yourself talking to me in some kind of terms of you gonna argue with me. You don't even know how to argue. You use words that you don't know the meaning of.
I know where you're going, that you're trying to find.
No, I ain't trying to do nothing. I'm only addressing what you say.
Now you see how patient I was with him. You notice I don't do that no more. You know why? That was 10 years ago. By now, everybody who listens to me knows that I have authority to say the things that I say. When I say authority, I mean proof. I don't just stand up and say things. I speak it in such way that you can't even form an argument or a question about it. Then why should I take an insult from you? I'm not. From now on, you come in here and get found in contempt, it's to your own peril. Now, that's enough of that. You know, I didn't ever stop him from, I let him go on and talk. You notice I didn't threaten him with hell or nothing. I just let him go on. But when it came time for me to stop that, I opened up my Holy Quran and it said, cast into hell every ungrateful, rebellious one. I said, oh, yeah. Yeah. Allah always come to the defense of a believer. He said that he is sufficient. He said, my grace is sufficient. And I'm full of his grace. So I done took off of you. Well, it's not saying I'm gonna be unmerciful but I don't see no reason to be merciful to unmerciful people. How many times you done seen a movie, man trying to kill somebody? Then they get the ups on him, and he said, "Oh, please, show mercy." Yeah. What? So you can go and recover and try to do that to me again? No. You remember the man in the Bible that his Lord forgave him all that he owed him, and he was crying for mercy. And when his fellow citizen owed him just 50, he had been forgiven millions. His fellow servant owed him 50. It's equivalent to $50. He grabbed him by the throat and then had him thrown in debtor's prison until he paid it off. And his Lord heard about it and fixed him. Say, you wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt, and then you should not you have did that with your fellow servant? Well, I tell you what, you go to debtor's prison, and until you pay every penny that you owe me. Yeah. So all these unmerciful people, why should I show them mercy? And what, and make a lie out of the word? It didn't say, blessed are the unmerciful, for they shall be shown mercy. See, Allah didn't have to spell it all out for me. He simply said, blessed are the merciful. Well, what that mean about the unmerciful? Cursed are the unmerciful, for they shall be shown no mercy. You see? Think about all the ungrateful people that didn't have sense enough to, you know, I think I told white people how much I appreciated the fact that they put President Obama, elected him. I appreciated that. Once I saw what kind of man he was. And, I appreciated him. And I put that all in the magazine and stuff and showed that he was not a fool. And some of the very people who I told don't vote for him, they went and voted for him. When I didn't. And I came back and publicly apologized to black people and told them I was wrong. I thought he was going to be our Uncle Tom and was going to be in there working against us. And on the contrary, he brought dignity and respect to us. And instead of them being thankful, they said about he didn't do nothing for black people. What a fool you are. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this one day when he was teaching. He said, when he was talking about us being proud, he said, you can't step to the earth, through the earth. The earth is deeper than you. And you can't reach the top of the mountains in height. For the earth is taller than you. Even some of our animals is bigger than you. He said, so, and he said, not a one of us is the president of the United States. That show you what he thought about that office. And then all of a sudden, one of us was president of the United States. And if anybody had a right to be proud, he did. And yet he stayed humble. And not humble in the sense of being afraid and being scared to do anything, but humble in the sense that of wearing a suit that fits you. He didn't have to put on airs to fit into that office. All he had to do was be himself. Too bad you couldn't see that. That man grew up and, I mean, yes, his mother was white and his father was black. And he grew up in a house with white people. President Obama ain't never been what you call, had no inferiority complex. You could tell that by the way he carried himself. But he knew white people and he knew us. The problem with most of us is we thought just because he was the first black president that somehow he's supposed, once he get in there, he's supposed to pull the Trump, the activist thing. The president is not an activist. His duty was to do what he did. Work to make America better. Do what's best for America. And that means everybody that's in America that's not too lazy and not too self-involved, they'll be all right. The man put a health care package together so that all Americans could get good health care. And you tell me he didn't do nothing for you. Why? Because he did something for everybody? They talking about trying to give this administration credit for the economy. This administration ain't getting no credit for this economy. This economy was in good shape when he got here, when he got in there. Unemployment was already down at 4.5 or something like that. Now he want to get in there and take credit for it. The stock market was already doing good when he got in there. The American people were, most of the people in America were able to get insurance, health insurance. It was already there. He in there undoing everything. And most of the people that's listening to me that look like me voted for him. Voted for Donald Trump to get in there. Because what? You mad at President Obama for what? He had no business letting men be able to marry men. That wasn't in his purview to prevent people from marrying whoever they want. You know, that's a religious principle. You can't enforce your religion on other people. Even religious doctrine don't let you do that. The only one who can do that is the Lord. That's why I start the new nation of Islam off with rules. And if you want to be part of it, you have to toe the line. But America didn't start off as a religious nation. No, you won't change horses in the middle of the stream. There shall be separation of church and state in the new nation of Islam. The word of God is our constitution. And that's what I uphold. I don't tell you that you can't practice a sodomite activity if that's what you want to do. You just can't practice that and be with me. You want to go out there and do that? Go. If you're right, I offend you. That means if any member of the body offend me, get rid of him. That's what Allah said. See, I say that in front of the whole world. You hear anybody arguing? Let me hear your argument. We look for a new heaven and a new earth wherein ain't nothing but righteousness. Behold, I make all things new. Well, there ain't none righteous now. Well, I make all things new. A new heaven, a new earth, wherein dwells righteousness. That's why that song, like I told you, means that this is it. It says, let them believe or leave them behind. Mr. McDonald wrote a song now, man. That's almost as the on the level of the battle hymn of the Republic. If you had understanding that I have, that song is deep. Yeah. You know, you may say that maybe it's over. Well, not if you don't want it to be. Are you gonna wait for a sign? Here's your miracle. Stand up and fight. Well, that's deep. Anyway, I want you to hear something from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They asked the question to the secretary, the spokeslady, what's her name? Huckabee Sanders, Sarah Sanders. And they asked her, is Russia, I think it was her, is Russia our enemy? How in the world you don't know that the government of Russia is not the same as the government of America? Them two can't coexist. I mean, they are opposites of each other. But she says she don't know. But listen to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Many people thought that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad considered himself the enemy of America. But he didn't. Listen.
There is much I want to talk with you about, but I must not forget to tell you this. I don't go to the nations of the East to get something from them for myself. I get that for you. And now you are spreading all over the path that I've been trying to make for you. Absolutely destroying. Because you want to be the big boy for yourself. And you are making yourself the little boy. What I have been told that you are trying to do, where I have gone along, I feel like a ostrich, want to hide my head in the sand for your foolish act. Soon as I went and began to talk, trade for you with J. Can you hustle there. Want to try to get a private trade for yourself. Such foolish people. Throughout the country, there is little clusters of groups of my people here trying to trail me everywhere that I go to get a self-business with the people. If I would go to Russia, you go in there. I can get into Russia today for you if I want it. But I respect the American government. I won't go and grab that in to help me. I don't need them. I can get into Russia today for you if I want it. But I respect the American government. I won't go and grab that in to help me. I don't need them.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad knew Russia was the enemy. How come this administration don't know that? How could you grow up in America and be as old as you are and don't know that Russia is no friend of the United States? But, I mean, there's a lot of people do business with each other that ain't real good friends. I mean, y'all do business with strangers every day. When you walk in a man's store, you know all them people that you be dealing with in the store. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I will not go to their enemies for help. He said, I respect the American government. Do Donald Trump respect the American government? He said the American justice system is a joke. He said it. As president, he said that. Let me read something to you from the father of this country, George Washington. This is a vision of George Washington. Do you know, how many of y'all saw the movie Red Dawn? What was the gist of that movie? Russia attacked the United States in a movie. Is that right? Okay. And they call it Red Dawn, didn't they? Huh? They called the Russians the Reds, didn't they? Okay. Now, just remember that now. It says a vision of George Washington, the birth, the progress, and the destiny of the United States. The father of our country, George Washington, was a man of prayer. Well, you can't dispute that, especially with all of the historical. How did Congress wind up having to have prayer before every session? The founding fathers set that in motion, didn't they? Do you suppose people have prayer that don't believe in God? All right. It says, the father of our country, George Washington, was a man of prayer. Many of us have read of how he went to the thicket many times to pray. During the winter, his army was at Valley Forge. However, little publicity has been given gave to the vision and prophecy he received at that time. Remember, I told you, it's no way that you can look at the history of America and think that this country came into existence by accident. One of Allah's attributes is that he is the doer of what he intends. Well, he said to Abram, your seed shall be a stranger in a land that's not theirs, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. There was no United States at that time. Yet, when the time came, Allah set this country up, gave them a government, showed them how to do it, and then they got us and afflicted us and put us in this condition. Do you understand? He says, the account of this vision was given in 1859 by an old soldier. He gave it to a writer, Wesley Bradshaw, who published it. In the vision, God revealed to George Washington that 3 great perils would come upon the Republic. He was given to know that America was going through the first peril at that time. The old soldier who told the story of the vision said the nation would soon see the account verified by the second peril descending upon the land. We give the account here as printed in the U.S. War Veterans paper, the National Tribune, in December 1880. The National Tribune became the Stars and Stripes. That's a military newspaper. Today, the Stars and Stripes is. It says, and this article was later reprinted in that publication. I do not know whether it is owing to the anxiety of my mind or what, but this afternoon as I was sitting, now he's quoting George Washington now. He says, I do not know whether it is owing to the anxiety of my mind or what, but this afternoon as I was sitting at this table engaging in preparing a dispatch, something in the apartment seemed to disturb me. Looking up, I beheld standing opposite to me a singularly beautiful being. So astonished was I, for I had given strict orders not to be disturbed, that it was some moments before I found language to inquire the cause of the visit. A second, a third, and even a fourth time did I repeat my question, but received no answer from my mysterious visitor, except a slight raising of the eyes. By this time, I felt strange sensations spreading through me. I would have risen, but the riveted gaze of the being before me rendered volition impossible. I tried once more to speak, but my tongue became useless, as if paralyzed. A new influence, mysterious, potent, irresistible, took possession of me. All I could do was gaze steadily, vacantly, at my unknown visitor. Gradually, the surrounding atmosphere seemed to fill with sensations and grew luminous. Everything about me seemed to rarefy the mysterious visitor, also becoming more airy and yet more distinct to my sight than before. I began to feel as one dying, or rather to experience the sensations I sometimes imagined accompanying death. I did not think, I did not reason, I did not move. All were alike impossible. I was only conscious of gazing fixedly, vacantly on my companion. Presently, I heard a voice say, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." While at the same time my visitor extended an arm eastward, I now beheld a heavy white vapor at some distance, rising, fold upon fold. This gradually dissipated, and I looked upon the strange scene. Before me lay out in one vast plain all the countries of the world, Europe, Asia, Africa, and America. I saw rolling and tossing between Europe and America lay billows of the Atlantic, and between Asia and America lay the Pacific. "Son of the Republic," said the same mysterious voice as before, "look and learn." At that moment, I beheld a dark, shadowy being like an angel standing, or rather floating in midair, between Europe and America, dipping water out of the ocean. In the hollow of each hand, he sprinkled some upon America with his right hand, while with his left he cast some over Europe. Immediately a cloud arose from these countries and joined in mid-ocean. For a while it remained stationary, and then it moved slowly westward until it enveloped America in its murky folds. Sharp flash of lightning gleamed through at intervals, and I heard the smothered groans and cries of the American people. A second time, the angel dipped water from the ocean and sprinkled it out as before. The dark cloud drew back to the ocean, in whose heaving billows it sank from view. A third time, I heard the mysterious voice say, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." I cast my eyes upon America and beheld villages and towns and cities spring up, one right after another, until the whole land from the Atlantic to the Pacific was dotted with them. Again, I heard the mysterious voice say, "Son of the Republic, the end of the century cometh. Look and learn." And this time a dark, shadowy angel turned his face toward southward from Africa. And from Africa, I saw an ill-omened spectre approach our land. It flitted slowly and heavily over every town and city of the latter. The inhabitants presently set themselves in battle array against each other. Sound like the Civil War, huh? Over slavery. As I continued to look, I saw a bright angel on whose brow was traced the word Union. He was bearing the American flag. He placed the flag between the divided nation and said, "Remember, ye are brethren." You remember Abraham Lincoln when he when the Union won the war? You notice he didn't take no prisoners of war. He let the Confederate soldiers keep their dignity, and he brought them back together again. It cost him his life, but he brought them back together again. And it says, "Remember, ye are brethren." It says, instantly the inhabitants cast down their weapons, became friends once more, and united around the national standard, around the stars and stripes. And it says, again, I heard a mysterious voice say, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." At this, the dark, shadowy angel placed a trumpet to his mouth and blew 3 distinct blasts. And taking water from the ocean, he sprinkled it upon Europe, Asia, and Africa. Then my eyes beheld a fearful scene. From each of these continents arose thick black clouds that were soon joined into one. Clouds always represent confusion. Most of the time they do, when mentioned in the context that is being used now. It says, from each of these continents arose thick black clouds that were soon joined into one. And throughout this mass there gleamed a dark red light. Just a moment. Let me let you see something. Now pay attention now.
Alert provides information on Russian government actions targeting U.S. government entities, as well as organizations in the energy, nuclear, commercial facilities, water, aviation, and critical manufacturing sectors. This alert contains indicators of compromise and technical details on the tactics, techniques, and procedures used by Russian government cyber actors on compromised victim networks. Now, you can tell from all the weird nouns there that this is obviously a technical document. This is a long and technical document, but the plain English of it is clear. It's a warning. It's some sort of nationwide signal that something is wrong. It says right at the top of the report, contact DHS or law enforcement immediately to report an intrusion. Now, I am not tech savvy enough or sort of computer engineer minded enough to understand a ton of what is here, particularly the long strings of computer code that are included in this report. But what is clear to me, just as somebody who reads the news, is that this appears to be the follow-up and much more serious and much more public update to something we saw that happened this past summer. This past summer, you might remember this when you see this picture of that nuclear power plant. This past summer, Bloomberg News and New York Times reported that a secret warning had been issued by these same agencies, by Homeland Security and the FBI. A secret warning had been issued to American power plant operators, telling them that there had been cyber attacks specifically targeting U.S. power plants, including, memorably, the operator of this big isolated nuclear reactor out in Burlington, Kansas.
Now let's read his last vision again. He says, Son of the Republic, look and learn. At this, the dark, shadowy angel placed a trumpet to his mouth and blew 3 distinct blasts. And taking water from the ocean, he sprinkled it upon Europe, Asia, and Africa. Then my eyes beheld a fearful scene. From each of these continents arose thick black clouds that were soon joined into one. What is the internet? Where the whole world becomes one? Thick black clouds. Yeah, you see a whole lot of, you go on that internet, you find all kind of misinformation and false information on there, don't you? A bunch of confusion, huh? Don't know which way to look and don't know what's right and what ain't. Huh? It says, and throughout this mass, there gleamed a dark red light. Putin playing chess. Everybody playing. He putting his people in positions, huh? Look what just happened over there. England just had to kick out some Russians that was over there making mischief. America had to kick out some Russians that was here making mischief. Now you're finding out that Russia, with that the red light, Russia got people all in the American government and even rigged an election. It says, there gleamed a dark red light by which I saw hordes of armed men. We say hordes of armed men. It wasn't talking about, don't you know a cyber attack? That's an army, a horde of people who have savvy on how to do that. It says, these men moving with the cloud. They even call the internet, some of it now, the cloud, don't they? Moving with the cloud, marched by land and sailed by sea to America. Which country was enveloped in the volume of the cloud? Well, certainly America is enveloped in the volume of the internet because America invented the internet. Just like me, I'm enveloped in the scripture, in the volume of the book I come, because it's all written of me. If it was not for the Son of Man, there wouldn't be no scripture. This was Allah keeping his word. I'm going to create a mind, a mortal. And that's what the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran is. It's the mind that he intended to put in this vessel that's standing here now. And it says, these men moving with the cloud marched by land and sailed by sea to America, which country was enveloped in the volume of the cloud. And I dimly saw these vast, look how many American people got hoodwinked by them robotic voices and stuff on the internet. So in love with the internet, they couldn't conceive of it being used, their own invention being used to try to divide and conquer them. Huh? Okay. And I dimly saw these vast armies devastate the whole country. Look at America now. Everybody looking at America because America has been devastated by this propaganda and misinformation. Until now, you got people in the government of America attacking their own Justice Department. And you know that ain't never happened. It says, and I dimly saw these vast armies devastate the whole country and burn the villages, towns, and cities which I had seen spring up. You know, when people say you got burnt, it don't necessarily mean with physical fire. It means you got tricked. Huh? All right. As many ears listened to the thundering of the cannon. You know, they call law, when you go look into law books, they call the different statutes in their canons. As my ears listened to the thundering of the cannon, clashing of swords, out of his mouth proceeded a sharp two-edged sword. Clashing of swords, and the shouts and cries of millions in mortal combat. The mortal is nature, natural. You notice all of the minds, especially in America, are natural minds. And none of y'all have no spiritual mind. I'm the only one with that. And now you argue with each other. You notice all on the internet, you see people insulting each other. And look at the president of the United States tweeting out insults to people. Huh? Leading the way. Huh? It says, and the shouts and cries of millions in mortal combat. I again heard the mysterious voice saying, Son of the Republic, look and learn. When the voice had ceased, the dark, shadowy angel placed his trumpet once more to his mouth and blew a long and fearful blast. Instantly, a light as of 1,000 suns shone down from above me. Yeah, that's because the Son of Man is here. You see, I'm shining this light on what's really going on here. Huh? And the Holy Scriptures is above everybody. That's why it's called the Most High. Huh? And it says a light from above. I remember it says they got a song. When I was a little boy, I learned this song. And it had such a catchy tune to it that I never forgot it. It says, God bless America, the land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the oceans. Y'all know that song? Yeah. You remember that? Well, look what it said right here. It says, and blew a long and fearful blast. Instantly a light as of 1,000 suns shone down from above me and pierced and broke into fragments of the dark cloud. which enveloped America. You notice it's now coming apart. Everything they've been doing is being manifested now. There's nothing hidden that shall not be made manifest. Breaking it into parts. Whomsoever that stone shall fall on shall be broken. Huh? Then it says, broke into fragments the dark cloud which enveloped America. At the same moment, the angel upon whose heads still shone the word union, and who bore our national flag in one hand and a sword in the other, descended from the heavens, attended by legions of white spirits. These, remember it says, what are these and whence came they? What are these in white robes? And from whence came they? Remember it said, these follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Well, it says, descended from the heavens, from the Holy Scriptures, attended by legions of white spirits, of angels. These immediately joined the inhabitants of America. You see, I'm teaching, you see, I teach a long blast. I teach a long time, don't I? Longer than chew Tootsie Roll. Huh? Yeah. Anyway, and joining with who? Joining with the American people. Why should not I? You remember the messenger said, we will not take part in your wars unless America herself is attacked. You messed up. You had no business attacking America. I live here. And it says, these immediately joined the inhabitants of America, who I perceived were well nigh overcome. Yeah, they had about overcame you. Remember, I was telling you about these crooks in the government while the FBI was only, you know, they was just getting on the page of seeing this stuff. But they saw it a long time before they told you about it. But I told you a long time ago when I saw these people fighting against health care for the American people, I told you, you got a bunch of crooks in your government here. Don't no fathers fight against health care for those that are in their care. Nobody who cares about your country would have dared fight a president who said, let's fix the infrastructure. No, you got people in the government that don't care about you. And I've been telling you that for years. I told you how that was an insult for Grover Norquist to stand up and tell you he want to reduce your government down to the size that it can fit in a bathtub. I told you he meant that he wanted to make puppets out of all of your Congress and your three branches, the executive, the judicial, and the legislature. They wanted them to fit them all in the bathtub. In other words, do away with them. And you notice, haven't you noticed you had a Supreme Court justice that called spending as much money as you wanted in the American election? He called that freedom of speech and chuckled. He ain't here no more. Allah stopped his heart. You better quit playing with what God started. Anyway, it says, these immediately joined the inhabitants of America. That's what I'm doing now. I'm putting the word of God, mixing it in with your mind so that the angels join with you now, that you can see what's really going on. You got the greatest nation that ever lived on the earth. That's what America is. There ain't never been a nation as great as this, as America. You wicked. But even that was not your fault. It was done so that Allah could bring everybody into the knowledge that you need something more than just the knowledge of the physical universe. And he's done it. But now you're about to destroy yourselves. No nation could get America, could come in and destroy America. They could only get you to do it to yourself. Wake up. A house divided against itself cannot stand. The black man in America has proven that to you. Look how we have all been divided. Have we been able to stand and defend ourselves, to do for ourselves, to get ourselves out of poverty? We have a lot of black millionaires. We have a lot of black intellectuals. We have black scientists. We have black people that's working in every field. But because we are divided, we cannot stand. So we have proven that truth to you. Now, are you about to let yourself? Now I'm talking to white people. You about to let yourself become like the slave? And I'm not saying that to mock you, brothers and sisters. I'm here for you. We're going to come together. Maybe not all of us, but I'm going to get you out of this condition. But we don't have to help nobody destroy our white Muslim brothers' country while we're doing that. We need to help them. That's what I'm doing. I'm helping them. Helping them in the way that they really needed help. Don't nobody have to teach the white man how to fight his enemies. But you do have to be taught now who your real enemies are. And I'm not talking about getting in no planes, dropping some bombs on somebody. Wise yourself up and realize that cyber attacks is attacks that go after your psyche, after your mind. You got to collect your thoughts, and you got to stop reacting to, they call it right, fake news, but they told you the wrong news that was fake. Most of the news that you see on the internet is the fake news. Always, if a person brings you news, if you go to a site and it's news on there, the first thing you all ought to want to look for is who's bringing it. If you don't see nobody out there bringing it and just a voice talking or whatever, you just turn that channel. That ain't about nothing. Who brings the truth and don't want to be seen? That's the only time that happened is in investigations behind, like with Robert Mueller and all of them. Certainly those people, and they will be seen at soon. But these people that's just getting out there bringing you something about somebody else that's not there to be questioned. If they charging somebody, they ought to be there to take questions and answers on what they charged them with. If they can't, don't pay it no attention. Now, so it says, so these immediately, the angels immediately joined the inhabitants of America, who I perceive were well nigh overcome, but who immediately, taking courage, again closed up their broken ranks and renewed the battle. For what in actuality was the battle? It was the battle of civilization over savagery. You notice, if you look at the history of this country, it is filled with unspeakable evils. But at the same time, it's filled with constant, though slow, constant repentance. Moving from wrong to more right. Huh? Look how America was torturing people in the Gitmo. The news media reported it, and once the new administrations came in and saw that these things, said, we can't be that. We can't do that. We can't, on the one hand, have a constitution that guarantees everybody a right to their humanity and all of these things, and then we doing this kind of stuff behind closed doors. We can't do that. The best police that you can have is a self-accusing spirit, a self-correcting mind. Is one of the greatest gifts that God could give us, a conscience. If you have a conscience about how you treat people, you should thank Allah again and again and again. Because by having that, it makes you one whom Allah can trust, even when you're not readily seen. Does man think no one sees him, or that no one hears him? Has he not eyes? Has he not ears? Then man is sufficient as a witness against himself. Huh? Okay. And it says, again, amid the fearful voice of the conflict, I heard the mysterious voice say, Son of the Republic, look and learn. As the voice ceased, the shadowy angel for the last time dipped the water from the ocean and sprinkled it upon America. Instantly, the dark clouds rolled back. The confusion rolled back, together with the armies it had brought. You notice, you remember when I used to speak up for President Obama? I spoke up for Dr. Cosby and everything. And you remember how people, because of the stuff they had been doing on the internet, everybody jumped on the bandwagon for the lynching. Yes, sir. But you notice, the more that we showed how people were being falsely accused, then Allah did something else. As I told those who did that, you're going to get that back. But only they wasn't falsely accused. You got a president who out of his own mouth confessed to assaulting women. He ain't on trial. Huh? No, nobody tried him. And evidence, he doesn't confess to it. And you elected him president. What are you doing putting Dr. Cosby on trial there with no evidence at all? And the women that I did interview, I showed you that they were lying on that man. And then they just start falling like dominoes. I told you was going to get it back. I told all of you all who didn't care nothing about America, you get your behind up and get out of here. You rich, you can go anywhere. You probably already got dual citizenship, so why don't you just leave? You should have took my advice. And it says, as the voice ceased, the shadowy angel for the last time dipped the water from the ocean and sprinkled it upon America. But by the way, the ocean is just another way of saying the Holy Scriptures, the Bible and the Holy Quran, as all rivers run to where? They run to the ocean. All of the prophets' preachings, all those rivers of waters of life run into the Holy Scriptures and sit there. And I'm dipping my hand in there now and sprinkling it on you. And it says, instantly the dark clouds rolled back together with the armies it had brought, leaving the inhabitants of the land victorious. Then once more I beheld the villages, towns, and cities springing up where I had seen them before, while the bright angel planting the azure, meaning the American flag, the azure standard, cried with a loud voice, while the stars remain and the heavens send down dew upon the earth, so long shall the union last. And taking from his brow the crown which blazoned the word union, he placed it down upon the standard, while the people kneeling down said, Amen. The scene instantly began to fade and dissolve, and I at last saw nothing but the rising, curling vapor. I at first beheld, he says, I didn't see nothing but the rising, curling vapor that I first saw. This also disappeared, and I found myself once more, gazing upon the mysterious visitor, who in the same voice I heard before said, Son of the Republic, what you have seen is thus interpreted. 3 great perils will come upon the Republic. The most fearful for her is the 3rd one. But the whole world united shall not prevail against her. Let every child of the Republic learn to live for his God, his land, and unity and union. With these words, the vision vanished, and I started from my seat and felt that I had seen a vision wherein had been shown me the birth, progress, and destiny of the United States. So this is, you can go online and get it. It's, go find something online besides garbage. You sit up and you pretend, it's just like all of you who claim that you hate America so much. Then why you don't just get a passport and leave? Because you don't really mean that. You hate how you've been treated. But where would you go? What other nation is better? I'm the only one bringing in something better. And I don't have to try to destroy this. I would much rather cultivate it and make it better. Any fool can go and burn something down. I have seen as I grew up, and I did it. That automotive shop was condemned. We went there and remodeled it. We restored it. Ain't that much more satisfying than to just go tear something down? Why don't you go build it up? So Revenge is not justice. Most people, when they want revenge, oftentimes the revenge they want to take is wrong in the first place, because a lot of times the one that you want to take revenge for started the trouble. I don't care if it was your son or your daughter, your daddy or your mom. If they started it and the person defended themselves, why you want revenge? You don't want justice. Revenge ain't justice. So I'm here to give justice. My teacher said this to me. He said, I say, give justice to where it belongs, and don't try and rob people out of justice. If the white man, and he has, freed you and me, then he's not to blame today. You are to blame. You know, we don't, that's all we wanted was the freedom to go do for self, right? Well, we got that now. Nobody's preventing you from pooling your resources to do for yourself. Nobody but you. Even when I show you things that I've tried to do for you with the little pennies that you gave me. Look at that beautiful shop that we put up there in Detroit. You knew what it looked like before. And now it looks like a brand new, beautiful business establishment. We could do that with neighborhoods and everything else. It's the same around here. You just won't support me. You think somehow that what? I need you to give me something? What is it that I done begged you for? When I came here, ask anybody, what did the Son of Man come here begging for? I'm not no beggar. You came to my meetings. How many meetings did you ever come to of mine and a bucket got passed in front of you? I didn't ask you for nail dime until I started building. And since it's for you and you're going to benefit, why not help? Always sitting up, you make me sick. Talking about, I wish they'd come on in here and build something. You know who they is? Talking about white people. And then you want them to respect you as equal? You don't know the meaning of equal, obviously. They've given us a chance to show ourselves to be equal, and we keep failing. Anyway, but you see, Russia attacking America's infrastructure, attacking America in the nuclear plants and all this kind of thing, slipping into America's computer systems and stuff. What if they had went on and did what President Obama asked them? Give the money for the infrastructure and let's update it, modernize it. No, because the agents were already there. I heard Sarah Palin boasting and bragging on Vladimir Putin. Ain't that something? Where's she at now? I ain't forgotten none of them. I sure haven't. And I pray Allah reward you for what's in your heart. And all of you who are trying to create enmity and division. America had made a step, had taken a giant step towards trying to make itself a better nation. And you didn't rest until you try to make them trip up. The whole world was looking at America. What do you think people want to come here for? Because America is the land of promise. The mere fact, even as I said, you talking about building a wall to keep people not in, to keep them out. If there's other countries so much better, why everybody trying to get here? You don't know what you have, and you know what they say about a fool and his valuables. They're soon gonna pour out company. You better quit being stupid. And all you that call yourself hating black people, we ain't did nothing to you. Ain't did nothing to you. You the one been murdering us. And I'm about sick of you. Keep on. You're going to find out that you really don't want me for an enemy. Blaming your poverty. What a white man look like blaming his poverty on black people. You're just lazy, man. Ain't nothing held you back. Look at these people sitting up right under your nose, sitting up meeting with people who want to destroy your country. And you done made him the president. You're stupid. You better let the FBI do their job. And if Attorney General Sessions done made up his mind that he's with America, then you better leave that man alone. I mean, anybody can be tempted. And anybody can repent too. So, you know, if you smart, you will leave all of them patriotic men that ain't doing nothing but trying to look out for their own nation. You better leave them men alone. Because I live in this nation. And I'm with them to do that. I'm not with them to do you harm. But I'm with them to get justice. Now you leave them alone. So, I was thinking about all of these young people that's now standing up trying to save themselves because these silly traitors in Congress will not do their job. That's why you have a legislative branch of government. When they see something that is out of order, rather than the citizens having to rise up in revolution, the legislature brings about laws that the police and the justice, the people of that police the nation, the people that protect and serve the nation, The legislature make the laws, and the police and the people enforce those laws to keep the citizens safe. No citizen of America should have to feel that they need a gun to protect themselves inside of America. That's what they established a police force for. And it had worked for 100 years or so. It had been working for quite some time. You didn't used to hear nobody sitting up talking about no Second Amendment as though they was afraid they couldn't get no gun or whatnot. People been hunting forever. My daddy had 5 shotguns. Used to go rabbit hunting, but he didn't have them so he could shoot the neighbor. And he never tried to buy an M14 rifle. What do you need that for? That's a weapon of war. You done about lost your mind. I told you was going to be losing your mind. Now, since the babies got to try to stand up and speak for themselves, because the adults that's supposed to be looking out for the best interests of the children in school and whatnot refuse to take all of these unnecessary guns out of the society. You can have an assault rifle. Go join the military. They'll give you one. But I guarantee you, you won't be walking around with it until they say you need it, and then you will go and check it out of the armory, and you will go do what needs to be done with it, and then you will check it back in. You don't walk around on no military base, everybody packing. How come nobody, all these people that's always crying Second Amendment and whatnot. Am I speaking against the Second Amendment? I mean, I'm saying that they ain't got no business walking around with no gun. But I use the military as an example. That's their profession. But they're not walking around on base, everybody packing his rifle. For what? So why? So every time you have crosswords with somebody, you out there shooting each other? We got in fights when I was in the Marine Corps. I got in a couple of fights. And if I'd have had a gun, I'd have probably shot him. But didn't have no guns. So we both lived to walk away and laugh about it later. Walking around here, walking up and down the street with a rifle on your shoulder. Why? Because you're a coward. That's why. What was that went in that school and shot up all them young people? A coward. He knew they didn't have nothing in there to defend themselves with. He knew they wasn't expecting nothing. Why should they? The school is not a war zone, and these stupid people ain't got enough sense to be trying to keep it that way. Why would you want to arm teachers? And what teacher wants to teach in a school where he needs to arm himself? Let me tell you something. You know what my military occupation was armorer. Because they knew they couldn't make no killer out of me. They're a lot smarter than you may think they are. They do psychological tests with you and whatnot. You don't know it at the time, but they know what you are capable of and what you're not capable of as far as going on. You'll be a mighty poor military when you don't know who to send out with a gun to kill and who that just ain't in. And so, you know, I mean, I'm not a killer. So I served by repairing weapons and that kind of thing. Now, some people, they can do that. It's just like, you know, I look at all these people walk around, you know, people that like to fight a lot. Well, you know, if they had to write, I mean, if he's that fearless, if he's that aggressive, that can be turned into a positive thing. If you teach them to control that aggression and to use it to protect those who cannot protect themselves. How many of y'all saw a few good men, didn't you? You remember at the end of it? The little fella who was, you know, Santiago, who had got killed. At the end, they found them with conduct unbecoming a Marine. And the little white boy said, "What did we do wrong? We was following orders. We didn't do nothing wrong." And the other one told him, "Yes, we did." Brother told him, "Yeah, we did something wrong. Because we were supposed to fight for people like Santiago who could not fight for themselves." That was the conduct unbecoming a Marine. You don't gang up on somebody that can't, you don't go and attack somebody that can't defend themselves against you. That's a cowardly act. You know, there's I'm an example of what I say. I don't let people come in here and the whole all my followers gang up on them and call themselves arguing with them. I don't let nobody do that. That's cowardly. And it shows that you really don't care about the person. If I argue with a person, it's not because I hate them. People argue with people, and next thing you know, they want to kill them. Over words, man. Mm. Mm. You know, but I don't assume everybody's like me either. I mean, I don't got no blinders on. You know, so you know, like I said, I mean, I'm not gonna be your doormat. So then did that, been there, did that. I ain't gonna do that no more. Mutual respect. Yeah. That's what we gotta have now. Mutual respect. Don't start none, won't be none. So but I think I'm gonna let you see a little bit more of this, how deep this stuff go, and the intelligence community is, you know, gave out a warning to the outdated computers and the outdated systems that they have over nuclear plants and stuff like that. I mean, that is part of the infrastructure. President Obama tried to get them to do that way back in 2009.
The warning this past summer about these cyber attacks on American power plants, it didn't name who the perpetrator of those attacks was. And clearly, that warning was also never meant to be public. It was sent out secretly to power plant operators to let them know how to protect themselves. We, the public, only found out about it because of very alarming leaks about this secret warning that made their way into the pages of the New York Times and Bloomberg News. So that was last summer. Now it's 7, 8 months later. Now the government is making a public warning saying that these attacks on U.S. power plants have been committed by a known perpetrator. They've been perpetrated by the government of Russia. And this time the warning is public. It's not a secret warning that only goes out to power plant operators and skilled journalists. It's going to everybody. And I think what they are saying is that these attacks have gotten more serious. Nicole Perlroth at the New York Times covered this for the Times last summer when the warning had been secret and it hadn't named Russia. Nicole Perlroth is also covering it tonight for the New York Times now that the warning is public and it does name Russia. Here's how she explains the evolution here. Quote, in its urgent report in June, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI notified power plant operators about the attacks, but stopped short of identifying Russia as the culprit. By then, Russian spies had compromised the business networks of several American energy, water, and nuclear plants, mapping out their corporate structures and computer networks. They included that of the Wolf Creek Nuclear Operating Corporation, which runs a nuclear plant near Burlington, Kansas. But in that case, and those of other nuclear operators, Russian hackers hadn't leapt from the company's business networks into nuclear plant controls. Forensic analysis suggested that Russian spies were looking for inroads, although it wasn't clear what their goal was. Well, now apparently they've gotten further in these attacks. According to this report released today by Homeland Security and the FBI, by the spring of 2017, Russian attackers successfully compromised some North American and European energy operators. In the following months, the Russian hackers made their way to machines that have access to critical control systems at power plants. So not just the business side, but the stuff that actually controls the power plants. New computer screenshots released in the report today show that Russian state hackers have the foothold they would have needed to manipulate or shut down U.S. power plants. According to Eric Chin, a security technology director at Symantec, a digital security firm that's reported extensively on this attack, quote, we now have evidence that they're sitting on the machines connected to industrial control infrastructure that allow them to effectively turn the power off or effect sabotage. From what we can see, they're there. And they have the ability to shut the power off. All that's missing is some political motivation. The reason this story belongs today alongside the new sanctions that were just announced against Russia and the Mueller investigation more broadly. The reason this belongs alongside that reporting is in part because this is something else done by the Russian government to us. But it's also because of the timing. What's described here in this new technical warning from Homeland Security and the FBI is an attack that does have roots, and you can see first signs of it going several years back. But in terms of when this really got going,
now, let me tell you something. Yeah, you might think that you can take over electric plants and shut power down and then maybe sneak an attack in and nobody be able to launch counter. But be careful that your missiles don't blow up in their silos. There's a verse in the Holy Quran. It's like with Pharaoh. You know, Pharaoh had said he was going to kill all the firstborn of Moses' people. Remember that? Whose firstborn died? The Holy Quran says, may he be destroyed, how he determined to destroy us. Again, may he be destroyed, how he determined. It just simply said determined, but I added what needed to be added to it. How he determined to destroy us. may he be destroyed. So you a fool to be trying to attack any place that I'm in. You read somewhere where you was gonna blow the Lord up. Okay, enough of that. I want you to hear my young brothers and sisters again. We might go a few minutes over if it's possible. We would ask the station to give us a few extra minutes because I went a little longer than I meant to. But I want y'all to hear all of this.
How about we stop blaming the victims for something that was the shooter's fault? The fault of the people who let him buy the guns in the first place. Those at the gun show, the people who encouraged him to buy accessories for his guns to make them fully automatic. The people who didn't take them away from him when they knew that he expressed homicidal tendencies. And I am not talking about the FBI. I am talking about the people that he lived with.
See, even the babies got sense enough to know you don't blame the FBI for that. No. You blame the ones that he lived with. They knew he ain't had no business with no gun. But that's what happens when parents or step-parents are afraid of their own children. You think I'm going to live in the house being scared of my child? You know what my daddy used to tell me? Boy, I brought you in this world and I take you out of here. And the thing about it, I knew he meant it. I ain't finna take no whooping off my own child. You get to the point where you done got so big and so bad that you gonna talk to me like you talking to your buddy or something out there instead of your father. You better let that door hit you. No, I'm not afraid of mine.
I'm talking about the neighbors who saw him outside holding guns. If the president wants to come up to me and tell me to my face that it was a terrible tragedy and how it should never happen, and maintain telling us how nothing is going to be done about it, I'm going to happily ask him how much money he received from the National Rifle It doesn't matter because I already know. $30 million! And divided by the number of gunshot victims in the United States in the 1.5 months in 2018 alone, that comes out to being $5,800. Is that how much these people are worth to you, Trump? If you don't do anything to prevent it from coming and continuing to occur, that number of gunshot victims will go up, and the number that they are worth will go down. And we will be worthless to you. To every politician who is taking donations from the NRA, shame on you. If your money was as threatened as us, would your first thought be, how is this going to reflect on my campaign? Which should I choose? Or would you choose us? And if you answered us, will you act like it for once? You know what would be a good way to act like it? I have an example of how not to act like it. In February of 2017, 1 year ago, President Trump repealed an Obama-era regulation that would have made it easier to block the sale of firearms to people with certain mental illnesses. From the interactions that I had with the shooter before the shooting and the information that I currently know about him, I don't really know if he was mentally ill, but I wrote this before I heard what Delaney said. Delaney said that he was diagnosed. I don't need a psychologist, and I don't need to be a psychologist to know that repealing that regulation was a really dumb idea. Republicans, senators, tough grass leave the aisle.
Let me say this to you. It was a dumb idea if you intended to protect Americans and if you intended for the Second Amendment to not be used as a means of justifying giving rise to unstable people who would take innocent lives simply because their minds are not right. I mean, why would you do away with a regulation that would allow the law enforcement people to block someone who may have mental issues from getting a gun? Why would you do away with that regulation? Unless you are trying to make America implode.
Was the sole sponsor on this bill that stops the FBI from performing background checks on people adjudicated to be mentally ill, and now he's stating for the record, well, it's a shame that the FBI isn't doing background checks on these mentally ill people. Well, duh! You took that opportunity away last year! The people in the government who are voted into power are lying to us, and us kids seem to be the only ones who notice and are prepared to call BS. Companies trying to make caricatures of the teenagers nowadays, saying that all we are is self-involved and trend obsessed, and they hush us into submission when our message doesn't reach the ears of the nation. We are prepared to call BS. Politicians who sit in their gilded house and Senate seats funded by the NRA telling us nothing could have ever been done to prevent this. We call BS. They say that tougher gun laws do not decrease gun violence. We call BS. They say a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. We call BS. They say guns are just tools like knives and are as dangerous as cars. We call BS. No, they say that no laws could have been able to prevent the hundreds of senseless tragedies that have occurred. We call BS. That us kids don't know what we're talking about, that we're too young to understand how the government works. We call BS. If you agree, register to vote. Contact your local congresspeople. Give them a piece of your mind.
To suggest that no laws could have stopped it, all you have to do is look around the world at other nations that have laws, and you will see that their murder rate ain't nothing close to what America has. How you gonna say no laws would have did it? It's doing it for other people. So the children done started speaking up for themselves. You better. Of course, that was prophecy too. That's a prophetic song. You know what that song said? There comes a time when you heed a certain call for the world to come together as one. There are people dying, man. And it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere gonna make a change. Now we're all a part of God's great big family. And in truth, it's love is all we need. We are the world. And we are the what? There you go. See, all these things fall right into place now.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can go on pretending day by day that somewhere will soon could change. We are a part of God's great big family, and the truth, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we'll make a better day. Just you and me. Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free. As God has shown us by turning stone to bread, and so we all must let a helping hand. We are the world. We are the children. We are the one who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true to make a better day. Just you and me. We can turn out massive love at all. But if you tell me we can find realize all that time's gonna come when we stand together as one. We are the children. We
Man, this is a wonderful day and time to be alive. Yeah. This is we got so much potential. Now there's a good example of what the harmony of the human family. We are all better than we've been acting. You know, anybody can go out and it don't take no thought to do wrong. All you have to do is just don't think. And I guarantee you're going to do wrong. That's why if you want to do right, then you got to know the truth of how to do right. With God, with truth, all things are possible. So I'm going to leave it there. You know, I want you to know that the only thing you got to do is just turn around. And Allah will forgive you. Just turn around. May Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds. May Allah's salam alaikum.